Hey, composing gloves here. I'm wearing a hat. Today we're going to be talking about de-essing a vocal. Why de-ess a vocal? What is de-essing? Well, when you're speaking, there's a psst, there's that sound in your voice when I talk. And so you see this tons and stuff. And so when you compress things and bring them up in volume, this can be brought out in a way that's very undesirable. And if you were to listen to your music, which if you're mixing to be really loud, if you crank it, when that moment happens, you're going to go like this. Like it's just not going to be that desirable. It's going to be a little bit of an ear sore. Even it doesn't really matter. It comes out in most vocals just because that's the way we talk. So how do we combat this? And that's with a de-esser. So I have here an example, and this is before I do anything to the voice. Now there's a lot other. We're not going to talk about how I made this vocal or any other processing. We're only looking at de-essing. So you hear that, and if you were to pump this louder, or maybe you're listening to it loud, that can be quite a painful experience. And there's one reason why I want to remix this. I have a couple moments in here that do that. So we have TDR ANOVA, and I'm using it as a de-esser. And so if I play it now, and so I'm also, the part that is actually popping here isn't all the sibilants, but you typically are going after the sibilants. So let's go ahead and look at what TDR ANOVA is doing. Now this is a free plugin I covered in my free plugins series. If you go to my playlist and type in like free plugins, you should find it. And so over here, what it does is it's a frequency sensitive compressor. I love dynamic equalizers because they're very straightforward to use. So what I've done here is I have activated two bands by clicking on the threshold button, and I've set their threshold. One's at about -6 decibels almost, and the other one has just been turned on, and you can see the EQ curve happening. I think I turned this one on and didn't do anything to it at all. But we're focusing on this one. If I turn my analyzer on, so we're going to analyze what's coming in. So we have some peaks here that are I'm like, oh no, that's like causing me some pain. Usually you're going to find the frequencies that are like really kind of painful are from the 1K isn't usually too bad, but anywhere from 2K to like 10K, there can be, depending on the vocal, because this thing changes between voices and what you're doing and stuff like that. So depending on what you're working with, it'll be somewhere in that range. Usually there'll be some sort of an issue. And so all you need to do is you turn on a dynamic equalizer, you set your threshold, and the ratio I'm using is 2 to 1. Okay, so this is the more of the mono voice. It's not going out. And then I have a separate one for vocal pan, which is sending, this is sort of stereo difference. There's still there are a lot of mononess going on there, but this one is way more stereo than this one. That way when you play it over your phone, it still sounds really good. And you want to be careful about preserving these areas on your phone as well, because when someone's showing your super cool song to their friend, that is going to change. That's going to make the world if you have those frequencies properly represented, because that's what the phone is the best at reproducing. So you always want to make sure that you've got your stuff somewhat accounted for in the upper register. Don't bank on your sub only in the low end. You want to bring it up unless you think your audience is going to be listening, always with a full system. So let's go ahead and look at what's going on over here. So this is, let's turn this one off and listen to just this. And now we'll put it on. So you see it makes quite a dramatic cut, and it only cuts when it's a dynamic EQ. So it only cuts when it breaks this threshold, and the more it crosses this threshold, the more it compresses. So, and if you understand a compressor, you'll understand how this works just fine. It's just really cool that it's like an EQ as well. So they're called dynamic EQs. And if we come over here to our vocal pan, let's listen to this one. Now let's go ahead and de-ess this one. And you see it's much less of an issue. And over here, I've done something a little bit different. I put it on here and I put the ratio up a bit higher and set the threshold a little lower. So it's a little less aggressive. I'm also tempted to turn this guy on, bring him down like 2 decibels and leave it at a 2 to 1. Maybe move it over here a bit. And just like subtleties like that. And that can also give you a lot of headroom later on down the line if you're sensitive to some of these things. And after that, you've officially de-essed. So let's go ahead and do a couple before and after. So here is before. And this is after. So it's a lot smoother, a lot easier going. It's not as bright, and you might like the brighter sound at first, but if you're gonna listen at a loud volume where it's like really pumping, then you're gonna want to bring some of that down. And then in the mastering process, you can bring it up to taste, but your mix should sound like the way you want it to sound perfectly. So I guess don't compensate for because you're like, well, I'm gonna master this later. You want to keep that in mind for the headroom and stuff. But I think it's just a smoother vocal. It's way more easy going on the ears. And if you were to turn it up, it's not gonna kill you. And listening low is still pleasant. And this is my personal taste preference anyways. So if you want to do the brighter one, that's fine. But I have found that every time I choose brighter, I always end up regretting it and changing it later. So that's that. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.